friends, and a trader.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Nerditorium Live. It's an OG podcast from Geek Fruit. It's got me, obviously, at Jishnu, like the days of yore, where we used to just sit across from each other, talk garbage. And good to know that about 6 years later, not much has changed. Only the medium has changed. We have become slightly better at design and internet technologies, but otherwise pretty much everything else is the same. Hi Jishnu.
Neither of those two things were terribly necessary 6 years ago, because we had professionals doing those things for
That's
us, and
true.
we just had to show up. This time we have to do all of the things, which is still mostly showing up, if I'm being honest. But still,
a lot of it is just
yes.
showing up on time.
A lot of it is the same,
and
but
even
everything
that
is
we fuck
different.
up sometimes.
Yeah.
But Jishnu, happy to be here. It's the Nerditorium Live. Where so usually we try and catch the topical things that are going on. But when there aren't things like next week, perhaps we might do the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We have a spoiler cast for you next week. But because we didn't want to do like do you want to do like an episodic review like every week for say like Loki or something? Is that something that people would dig?
If the people want it, we are sluts for the people.
That's true.
If the people demand it, then sure. But if not, then cool. Just do the one and done. I feel like, especially with Falcon, you could do that, but unlike WandaVision, which was so fun to mainly speculate at the who done it and where's this going next and whatnot.
Who does it? Yeah.
Yeah. With a show like Falcon, I feel like the discourse would be more about like, so just how much were you invested in the subtext of this thing?
I think that's
which is a whole other thing. It's not as juicy. It's not as fun that way.
But
it's very interesting.
Right. There is a lot of speculation in WandaVision.
Very excited to talk about it.
But
it's a very different kind of
Yeah, but this show has other things we can talk about. Like, there's some admittedly cool questions that they raise. Obviously, like you said, subtext. There's some great action to talk about. So we're probably going to do that next week and do a full spoiler cast. So in between these kinds of episodes, and thankfully Disney and HBO and all these streaming services are giving us plenty to kind of talk about. But in the rare moments where we decide we want to talk about whatever we want to talk about, that's the real spirit of Geek Fruit, I feel. We pick our own topic. So this week we're talking about the coolest gadgets and the coolest inventory that you can find in some of the pop culture things that we love. So why are we doing this this week? I don't know. I don't know.
Why the hell not? There's not much else going on.
Well, I was reading a little bit about Indiana Jones 5. There was, I think it had an update in the fact that I think John Williams is on board now to score it, and who else is the new person? Phoebe Waller-Bridge is part of it as well. So there was a bit of an update, and I kept thinking, the only thing I think about when they announce a new Indiana Jones, and I've only seen 2 being announced in my lifetime. But I keep thinking, what's the MacGuffin going to be? And the MacGuffin, as some people now know, is the kind of like the little device or the thing that drives the story. And I know it's different from inventory, but like when it comes to Indiana Jones, like they literally coined that term. Like Lucasfilm coined that term. Like George Lucas coined that term. So I kept wondering what the 5th thing is going to be, because if the last few films they've had cults,
what's the and the
they've had supernatural stuff, they've had like aliens, so I want to know what the and is going to be. So we said, I was thinking, let's just do like let's talk about inventory, let's talk about MacGuffins, let's talk about gadgets. So Jishnu, I believe you have 3 for us, 3 gadgets. Now should we set up any rules? Like
I was just gonna say, I missed the memo about the MacGuffin bit, because mine are definitely not MacGuffins.
No, that's fine.
They are the exact
like
opposite. They are just things
just
that exist
right
and are fun to do. Or fun to play with.
No, but I'll tell you why. Because the Marvel Universe is built by inventory that are also MacGuffins, like in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, like we just mentioned. The Shield is a very big part of the show, and it is kind of it's gone from inventory to MacGuffin, just like the Infinity Stones have. So it's kind of interesting that way. So it's fine. not an issue.
Right. You've put way more thought into this. I was gonna go right off the bat with what I think was very special because I believe I mean this is based on zero research, so let's just take that with a giant salt. I believe this predated the actual thing coming into existence, which was the Jetsons' walkways.
Oh, what are you saying? Are you serious that they
I
invented
think
travelators before?
I think so.
No. Okay,
Because
we're gonna
that
have to do
shows,
some
like,
Google for this.
That show's way old, and those things
Jetsons
don't
is,
seem that old. I think that
came
those things.
out- 1 second. Let me just see. 1962.
Yeah, do you think they would travel?
When did?
No, I
escalator-
don't
gonna say,
think they
when
would
did escalators?
No, escalators are different. I'm not talking about escalators. I'm talking about
Well, it's the
the
same
Jetsons had.
technology.
It's technology, but the thing is, you never see those like walkways that just are not vertical anywhere except in really long hallways in airports, right? And so I feel like the Jetsons did it in their living room, which was completely unnecessary, but they could and they did because why not? And so then people in real life were like, you know what? I don't want to walk this much. Build me a Jetsons thing.
Okay, I did a quick Google while you were speaking. Sanat says the first escalator was kind of invented like in the late 1800s, so 1892. But obviously it did not see prominence because I don't think people were doing much of that. But a moving walkway, as they called, or also known as an auto walk, moving pavement, moving sidewalk, people mover, travelator, and travelator. The difference is a slow moving conveyor mechanism. All right, so let's see. It says it was actually they debuted these moving walkways in 1893 in these exposition kind of things.
What? Okay, fine. But then when did it get into circulation?
But
you see
early
at the
examples, Dunlop kind of started doing it in the 1970s.
Boom! There you go. That's my point. Look, I'm not saying that like moving things weren't a thing. They're like, if nothing else, airports had baggage claim, right? The baggage claim conveyor belt is this thing. You needed them in factories, you needed them in like to make assembly line products. These things existed. I'm just saying the concept of having a very expensive piece of machinery in everyday life that does really no significant job other than make things slightly like 2% easier for you.
Dude, I love
Were not a thing
escalators,
until the jets. No, yeah, I'm not talking about escalators. I'm not talking about escalators. I'm not talking about conveyor belts. Yeah, I'm talking about just travelators where you only see them in freaking airports because they're so dumb. They're like, this is it. Sometimes is faster to walk.
No.
Like, you've been there, right? You've been like running after the gate, and you've been like, shit, I'm gonna be late for the flight. Do I take the walkway where people are standing still, or do I just like walk a little bit faster and end up walking faster than those people standing still on the walkway?
And let's be honest, it's super.
That's how
fun.
dumb those things are.
It's so fun though.
It's really fun to walk backwards on them as well. It's great. But my point is, it's a stupid indulgence that really is not useful. It's just kind of cool. But I think the Jetsons like implanted that into people's brains, and then they were like, I want to be cool like George and his boy Elroy, daughter Judy, and Jane his wife.
And then she takes his wallet. And
bitches.
She takes his wallet and leaves him a note. I mean, you'd think they would figure out like NFC payments, but they had travelators. I will say this. I think The Jetsons is a completely underrated show. First of all, it still blows my mind that there was only one season of The Jetsons, and everyone keeps thinking that, oh man, we'll just keep watching this in an infinite loop.
Right.
But and there was a lot more than there was, but there wasn't. I'll give it to you. I think travelators are kind of like, they are different from escalators in the sense that escalators are doing two jobs. They're getting people somewhere quickly, and they're also elevating them from one point to another.
Escalators are a god.
Yeah,
escalators are great. Travelators are just
do you know any people who just won't stand on escalators, like who won't use escalators?
Personally, no, but I have seen them.
Yeah,
while standing for escalators, and they're hilarious.
At least two people who just by principle don't use escalators.
Because they're scared?
Yeah, because they're scared, and because I think they've been traumatized by somebody's sari ka pallu being on got into.
Yeah. I feel like every mother on the planet has heard the tale of some poor kid whose shoelaces got stuck and then they got sucked into
and
it.
somebody's and that's happened. People have died. Okay, and not to make light of that, but the escalator technology has significantly changed since then. They've invented ways to kind of have an auto braking system the moment they detect like a foreign object. So yeah, man, escalators are safe, guys. Use them. Use escalators. That's great. Great start. Great flippin' start. I think that's awesome.
Give me now. Give me a MacGuffin.
Yeah, well, tell me this. No. Before I go, are we only talking about stuff that is like that predated actual invention or that doesn't exist? It doesn't exist.
I mean, I thought the rule book was a lot shorter than you made it out to be. But if there are more pages, then by all means, flip the bitch and read it out and give me the rules and then hit me with examples.
Well, I mean, I thought we were going to do that thing where science fiction authors like predated the actual invention or invented it within their fiction, and then they kind of became.
Sure. Yeah.
Like for example, Jules Verne invented the submarine in the Nautilus in 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. One of my favorite books ever. In the comments, we have Romit sensing. Are you guys going to talk about Batman coming to Fortnite? I would love to. I know Romit and gang play a lot of Fortnite. I have to make a return to that. But they have some really cool, interesting gadgets in Fortnite as well, including the 0 point energy, which we could talk about at some point. We have to get some guests on for Fortnite. Maybe Romit, maybe Tarana. Anyway, Ruchi Singh Vasudev, whose birthday it is. Let's just talk about that for a second. Everybody, please give it up for Ruchi's birthday. She's 25 and she's a member of Geek Fruit, so she's taking the day off. She says hi, you guys. Why is she's got a house full of people right now, I'm assuming, and she's still...
this is not good hosting. If you're trying to entertain guests on your birthday, they didn't show up here to look at us.
I forbade her from
get drunk in a corner somewhere with friends, not by yourself, because that's just not healthy.
Yeah, not healthy.
But
let's move on. All right, so
tell me more things.
I mean, I don't really know exactly what I was gonna. I had one choice which I saw, but I did a quick Google to see if like what was out there, because the basic ones we can think of are like Star Wars has like plenty of cool stuff like lightsabers, the Star Trek.
Yeah, I'm not going for the obvious ones.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the fun ones.
I mean, okay, shall I begin with an obvious one? Not an obvious one, but like not as obvious as Star Wars.
Begin with it. Stop talking about it. Begin.
But
Tell me.
Back to the Future has plenty of really cool things.
Which one?
I'm gonna go with not the self-tying shoelaces, which is cool, not the hoverboard, but in Back to the Future 2, Doc Brown gives provides some futuristic like fashion clothes to
the jacket.
Marty. Yeah, and he gives him the jacket, and the jacket has like it's oversized, but it's a one size fits all because he presses a little button and then it shrinks to fit him. Now, I have two interesting points to that. One is, I love that jacket. Okay, love puffy jackets. And also one size fits all, great for the environment, great for fast fashion. But the most interesting thing about that is that became like kind of an inspiration for the Marvel movies, where Spider-Man has like a suit. Which he just puts on. It's kind of loose, and he presses the little emblem in the center, and then it kind of sucks back in. And so, and that's a complete homage to that. I feel anyway, because for some reason Tom Holland, who is fine as Spider-Man, but also why are they casting him as other things that we like Nathan Drake and all. But he was lobbying hard to play Marty McFly, and I'm just not on for it. And Robert Zemeckis has gone on to say that he'll never remake that series. But so I'm feeling safe in that idea, but I know that he wants to do it. So that's one thing. The other thing,
this started with talking about with a gadget, and I think we veered to a deep emotional black hole.
Here's the other interesting thing about that jacket. So that jacket is really, really cool. But there's a YouTube channel which I want to recommend. It's called Stuff Made Here. I think so Stuff Made Here, and there are other channels like this, but I can't remember who the guy is. One of the guys who does like these kinds of channels where they kind of invent practical versions of like movie props and things like that. So one guy who's not Stuff Made Here, Stuff Made Here has done some other cool things, but this one guy, he made an actual jacket that shrinks down to size, and he made it first with the jacket, and then he makes an actual Spider-Man suit that does that, which is quite cool. And the entirety of the video is him trying to figure out the physics of it. Like, what could you do? Do you just use laces with a little, like, a bit of a motor that kind of pulls it back, but then you get all this scrunchy stuff at the back. Then he tries out different, like, materials that shrink when exposed to, like, heat or cold. So if you heat it up, it kind of shrinks. So it's just like a bunch of cool things. But and after watching that video, I went back to see how they did it in Back to the Future, because I was just also curious. And I think he also shows a bit of footage in that. And it's just two guys off camera who pull a little harness and his jacket kind of shrinks. But I thought Back to the Future deserves a mention here because it's iconic in all the designs and things that they do in that, and also predicts the future by, implying that Trump will become president one day and become awful.
Cool. So future elastic for the win. Great.
Yeah, future elastic. Yeah. So
awesome.
Thought Back to the Future is an obvious one, but a good one.
Okay. I got another one.
Hit me.
This is I guess it's a gadget. It's not a MacGuffin, but it is definitely imperative to pretty much every story arc of this particular character.
Okay.
And I love just how simple and straightforward it is, but it's very powerful. It is a piece of wood that's pointy on one end and blunt on the other, and it's used to kill vampires.
Oh god.
I like that.
Wait,
It's
are
a-
you
it's a-
literally
it's a-
just talking
I'm
about
talking
a
about
steak?
Buffy's steak. That's the thing. Her gadget is something so dumb, but nobody else seems to use it except her. So I like how useful it is, yet it is arguably more dumb than it is useful.
Okay. So
Does it count as a
literally
gadget?
Just your gadget is a
Is a-
wooden steak.
Yes.
Well,
It's a wooden stick
it's not
that can kill
really-
vampires.
We said the
It's
coolest gadgets. You literally
The-
picked a
there-
stick of wood.
listen,
Any
yes.
stick of wood which is pointy on one end. A branch.
That's
if you
that-
rip it
that's
off.
that's the thing. That's the thing. They could have used any wood stick any old time to go chased by vampires, but no, they had to wait until Lady Buffy shows up with her goddamn pokey one, and that particular stick is the one that they have to use every time. Otherwise, they could just be like willy-nilly pulling down tree branches wherever the hell, and they're just stabbing, motherfuckers all over the place. But they don't.
But
They have to wait for one particular stick. That's the point. Is it a gadget? I
it's
think it
not
is
a-
because
a
there's only
gadget.
one.
1 second. How do you define gadget? Gadget is like something that has been like made to
Yeah,
achieve
with a
specific.
purpose.
Yes. A specific
Exactly.
goal.
This one was made to kill vampires.
Oh my god.
You couldn't, in theory, see, I'm with you. I totally get the frustration because in theory, you could kill a vampire with any pokey stick, right? Well, I guess not, because they would always wait for this one stupid fucking stick every time. It would have to be this one stick. So it's very useful because you will kill a vampire with it. That's a pretty useful tool, but it is really dumb because it is literally just a piece of wood. How come any other piece of wood can't do it? I don't know. I don't write those stories. So
I feel like
I think
not
it's a
enough
good-
time was spent thinking
it's
about
a good
gadgets.
hey it's a good gadget. Killing vampires I just fell. Killing vampires is no small affair. It's not easy, and this little stick
But this
is
like this,
pretty good at doing it.
1 second. I'm gonna just like preempt how this was even like discovered as the reason for why you can kill. Like there could have been a battle between a vampire and a regular, like a normal human. And,
normie.
Normie. And they could have been like the human was running away from the vampire, and no one has discovered this, so to speak, technology. And they run into the woods, and a fucking vampire trips and falls onto a tree, a la Logan in the end of
Yep.
Logan, kind
Yep.
of, right?
Yep,
And when he disintegrates on impact, the guy would have been like, okay, cool, this works.
Ooh.
This is basically how it so it wasn't hardly invented, Jishnu, is my point. Like we're talking about like invention. Somebody's like taken like time and effort to kind of not like fucking just using sandpaper made it like convenient to hold, otherwise you'll get splinters. It's like chopsticks. You're saying chopsticks is like
That's the thing. You could put up.
you could
It
kill a
had to be
vampire
this
with
one.
chopsticks. Well,
It was
with-
this
with-
specific one.
Yeah. I barely
it's-
accept this.
Hey, it's okay. It's like Aladdin's lamp. There are many lamps out there, but there's only one that can
Aladdin's
do the
lamp
thing.
now, if you said that. Great
See,
gadget.
it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Yes, it's a great gadget, but it's a one of a kind.
No. I'll tell you why Aladdin's lamp doesn't count is because that's a supernatural artifact rather
Oh
than
my
something
God.
that was cobbled together to provide ease of access. Remember, like when we were in school, we were taught like what is a machine? A machine is anything that eases a man's whatever.
Make life easier for you. Yeah, machine is something that is
Yeah, so this is
serving
hard.
men
This is
and
not a
makes
machine.
it makes
The lamp was something to contain the genie, and make him a prisoner. So
and therefore a
the
gadget. A
jinn.
gadget to contain a. If one is looking to contain a genie,
So would you say
one needs a lamp.
the not the ectoplasm? What am I saying? The
Proton
Ghostbusters
packs.
proton.
I was considering the proton
pack.
packs. Too easy.
Yeah, I know. So
Piece of wood, though.
That's a
Show
that's
me
a
somebody else
fucking-
that can get me just a piece of wood and kill a vampire with it. That's no
that's
easy
my point.
laughing matter.
Everyone can point a fucking piece of wood. I barely accept this. I think it's silly, but it's funny.
It sticks. It's infuriating because of the genius
Came
of
out
how
with like
simple
the
it is.
coolest gadgets, and you were like, this stick of wood.
Because you can kill vampires with it, dude. Let's not undermine how hard it is to kill a vampire.
Okay, I accept. Recently, I saw this terrible movie called The Daybreakers. I want to say, it's got Ethan Hunt. Ethan Hunt, I'm saying. I'm just thinking of Mission Impossible.
Hawke.
Ethan Hawke.
Yeah.
And Willem Dafoe playing. It's a society in the future where vampires exist and they're running low on blood and everything. The news channels are run by vampires, and the few humans who are like alive are trying to convince a good they're looking for a blood substitute. So it's kind of ahead of its time in this whole like trying to look for protein substitutes, not meat. So that's what Ethan Hawke does, and it's a really bad movie. But Willem Dafoe claims, and this is the premise of the film, he claims that he is the first vampire to go back to being a human. And how? Is because they expose him to the sun. But yeah, in that movie also, the same rules apply. They just, use wooden stakes and stuff. But yes, yeah, that's a bad movie. I don't know why I brought it
Those
up.
wooden stakes come in handy, don't they? Pretty damn good invention.
All right.
All right, what do you got?
Okay, my next pick is a slightly off. Well, I wanted to bring out a franchise technically because it's got several books. But Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams has multiple very, very cool inventions, including the Hitchhiker's Guide itself. That's the MacGuffin, you would say, of that entire thing, right? Like, it's technically not what they're looking for, but it's guiding them to go through the universe and get to the restaurant at the end of the universe. So in this first book, which is Hitchhiker's, the eponymous one, it's got a couple of things. One is the Babel Fish, which is a fish that you proceed to put in the ear of anybody who doesn't speak anything else apart from English or any singular language. And it's a fish that goes into your ear, and then suddenly it's Google Translate. And then Google, I think, or some people try to actually make a Babel Fish, which is like a kind of a Tamagotchi-sized device, which kind of does a bit of instant translation. But now, obviously, with phones and stuff, it kind of becomes moot. But the invention I want to talk about, which is completely useless, doesn't have anything. I mean, it's not useless. Most machines in films are used to kind of achieve some really kind of sexy goal or something like which is due to which will help the plot kind of progress. But they have something in the movie and in the book called the point of view gun, I think it's called. It's so stupid. It's basically you use that gun to shoot someone, and the moment that it shoots them with a bit of energy, and the moment you shoot them with that, you know what I'm talking to? Have you seen?
You
this?
empathize with them?
Yeah, you see the person who is shooting. You see their point of view about everything. It's so silly.
It's like, oh, I get it. I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, exactly that. It happens in the scene with Ford Prefect and Sam Rockwell. Man, what a cast! When the movie came out, I didn't even realize that who these people were. Now they've obviously gone on to become famous in their own rights. But it was Zooey Deschanel. It was Martin Freeman as Arthur Dent. It was Mos Def as Ford Prefect. And Sam Rockwell as Zaphod Beezelbrox. Yeah, the president of the galaxy, of the universe, whatever. But man, an amazing cast. And this scene kind of plays out really, really funny. And it's a great machine. I'm a big fan of kind of useless machinery. and this is a perfect example of that. Point of view shooter gun. I want to say it's a gun, but it's called a point of view gun, I think. So that's my next entry, and also a small petition from my end to make Hitchhiker's Guide into not a Netflix series but an HBO series. I think they need to.
Was you want more sex?
Matt, no, Netflix does sex, dude. They fucking do all of that now. But
They
man,
do.
Matt, have you? Okay, small aside.
What's so special about HBO?
Well, HBO, it doesn't
Oh,
feel
why
like
rather HBO?
it doesn't feel like everything is made with the same kind of
Love.
tone.
Okay.
Like everything on Netflix kind of has this one vibe. The moment you put that logo in the corner,
I know.
it's just like everything has that same. I don't know if you saw this. I saw an awful trailer for the adaptation of The Girl on the Train, which Netflix did, and it had Alia Bhatt in it. But it was such a terrible trailer, but it still felt so Netflix. And I was just like, why is it made like this? It was very
I think because if I'm not mistaken, Netflix cuts all the trailers themselves. It's not
maybe
up
that's
to.
it. And it's like
It's
the
not
color
up to
grade
the.
or something.
Yeah,
I
or
think it's the
I don't
trailer.
know.
You're right. It's the trailers. I just started watching this show called the Irregulars, which is this very Netflix show, and I think this is where Netflix excels. Like this is the kind of show I would want to watch exclusively on Netflix, which is about the homeless network that Sherlock and Watson have. So it's about them, and Sherlock and Watson just give them kind of like leads to go. So it's just about this group of like misfits who kind of have to do all the supernatural kind of dirty work that Sherlock and Watson, who are upstanding members of London, cannot get their hands dirty with. So it's quite it's just like it's very Netflix, but it's quite cool. So I'm watching a bit about, but it's so Netflix. So I would like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, but by HBO or like Amazon Prime or something. That would be cool.
Chalo, YouTube original. We'll do it. Okay. So,
Like all right.
I will bring us home with, from my selection, I'm torn between two. I'm going to go with I believe it's like a warthog type of creature.
Are you naming another thing that already exists in nature that is now a
No,
piece of...
it does not exist in nature, but it should, because this is so, again, ahead of its time. I don't think it exists, but it's ahead of its time. One, Fred and Wilma Flintstone have a warthog type beast underneath the kitchen sink.
Yeah, it's basically...
That is a
the
garbage
water supply.
disposal.
Yeah. Oh, it's
a garbage disposal. And I think that is ingenious. It is a gadget because you have to buy one. I know this because in the movie, when Fred gets promotion that he steals from Barney, spoilers,
Right.
he gets an upgrade in his house and he buys a better warthog type dinosaur. It's not a warthog, it's a warthog type of dinosaur. Obviously, it's a dinosaur, it's Flintstones. So that is, I think, the best use of animal slave labor.
If animals...
Because you feed the guy,
if
he's
warthogs,
very happy eating scraps.
Not...
He doesn't get a lot of light, so he's pretty pasty. But he seems pretty happy. He's well fed, 3 square meals a day.
Well, surely not square.
Could be worse.
It's just the remains.
They're fine. Fred eats a lot. There's a lot of the Brontosaurus burgers and bones are this big.
Yeah, but bones really... It's like, when you have pets, it's like some people say, oh, why don't you just give them the bones? I was like, why would I give them... I'm only going to feed my pets what I want to eat, what I would eat.
Because your pets are cats. They don't eat bones, but dogs eat bones. Dogs love bones.
Dogs chew. Actually, no, they kind of consume them or they break them apart.
Yes.
Parag in the comments says, have you guys watched Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency? This was a Netflix show. Douglas Adams adaptation, amazing show, only 2 seasons with Elijah Wood. I remember this. A peak imagination and creativity. Did you watch that? Okay. No, I didn't watch this though. I think I read Dirk Gently's maybe as a kid. I'm not sure. One of my friends, Harry, is like a big fan. But Douglas Adams, goes without saying, really, really funny. And I feel like if they did that adaptation, they probably have best, they're probably making some headway into adapting Hitchhiker's Guide. But there are some really good adaptations. There's the radio adaptations, which are quite good. Highly recommend. I can't remember the cast right now, but also really good. I feel like some of your picks today have been very...
All right, fine. How about this then? The classic preempting Doctor Strange's sling ring for like, teleporting you places. Not the sling ring, the sling. The classic Looney Tunes black hole that you can either throw on the ground or throw against a wall.
An Acme
and
product.
send all Acme products.
All Acme products.
Are the greatest
Great
inventions
picks.
ever.
I love that.
But I think the warthog. I think the
unbelievable
warthog was my pick.
Violence.
I picked the warthog because it's a 2-for.
It's a
You
2-for. Okay.
get what you want, and the warthog gets a home, and he gets 3 square-ish meals a day.
Okay, Jishnu, what you're saying is one is infringing on animal rights, and the other, or dinosaur rights, and the other one is just a product of violence. I mean, like, not a product of violence, but like brings about violence, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
We might see more Acme products in the upcoming Space Jam movie. So that would be cool to see.
I'm be hyped for the scene the boys from Clockwork Orange.
Sorry, what? So what's that?
Did you see the trailer?
I did see the trailer. Yeah, it looked quite good.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see the boys from Clockwork Orange make that cameo.
Man, so it seems like maybe we can talk about this when we segue into news, a bit of news. But it seems like they're playing that one out like the Lego movie or
exactly.
Where they just have a
it's
host
exactly.
of WB characters just coming in. That's quite cool. I like that. It's like the multiverse. I think everybody's into that right now. Everyone's like that kind of vibe. I saw Voldemort in the trailer.
Exactly. So I'm like, I miss Bugs and the gang, so I hope they don't distract too much from Bugs and the gang. Because the good thing about Space Jam 1 was, at least, which we just saw maybe a couple of weeks ago, the good thing about Space Jam was
the soundtrack,
obviously, but also it's literally just MJ and like 7 or 8 of those tunes, and that's great.
They shot
because you don't need much more
in a green screen. I mean, I wish Richie was here. She has some good information on how that movie was made. But you're right. It was. It was.
So I just hope that this doesn't get carried away with other people, which I'm sure will be great. But I miss Bugs. I'd like to see Bugs.
I'd like to see
more.
Bugs, Daffy, Lola, all the gang. Kind of just chime in as much as they can. I think did I have any other inventions? I did want to kind of talk about like Voigtkampf, which is the device that the Blade Runners use to detect deviancy in replicants.
That's called?
It's called the Voigtkampf, the VK machine. So why is this kind of important? Is not important, or why I kind of think about it a lot is because in about like maybe 1999, Westworld Studios, a gaming kind of company, came out with a Blade Runner game whose storyline kind of works parallel to the original Blade Runner. And that game was amazing. And why it was amazing, it was very ahead of its time. It was like a 3D kind of CGI game which used
99, you said?
Yeah, 99. And it came on 4 CDs, Jishnu. I used to use 4 CDs to install that game. Fucking amazing. Graphics were unparalleled at the time. And it was a point and click. So it was just like taking the point and click game into the future. Literally.
It's a long ass point and click. Damn.
Yeah, it was. And it was an amazing game because it had multiple endings. It was like, I swear, one of its kind. Really, people haven't... I want to read more about it, but it's like way ahead of its time. I want to get it, in fact, and do a replay. But amazing. And so my computer would just like struggle to keep up with the game because it was just like so heavy, but amazing game. And in that game, you can your job as a Blade Runner is to kind of retire replicants. And to do that, you have to kind of convince them. You can either kind of chase them, or you can try to kind of cozy up with them and they say, hey, do you want to take like a Voigtkampf test just to kind of, do that? And you would do this and you have to ask a series of questions saying, oh, how would you react to like the murder of a dog, and see if they kind of, if their eyes, their pupils dilate and stuff. Anyway, really cool piece of technology from Philip K. Dick, and in the movies, obviously Ridley Scott. So that's my final one. It's a legit gadget that was invented for this purpose. All right. So that's
dinosaurs that eat your trash.
Dinosaurs that eat your trash.
Pretty original and for the plot.
Yes, I agree.
You didn't see that in Jurassic Park.
Dude, I when I was in Warner Brothers World in Dubai, in Abu Dhabi, there's a Flintstones ride, and there's so many rides. You go to Gotham, you go to Metropolis, you can do Justice League, you can do all that stuff. But I swear, the Bedrock stuff, like the Flintstones ride, was probably my favorite because it was just the most chill. It had all these animatronic stuff. It had like your Warthog kind of, and all these like and Dino and all these guys, just like moving about, and it was awesome. I'll try and share some of that with you, but it was so good. And they had an actual their automobile, the one where they kind of, and you can sit in it, and it's great. Anyway, Flintstones and Jetsons, great.
What's that movie again?
Which movie?
It's
The first one or the second one?
The John Goodman.
The John Goodman was great.
Rick
Mark
Moranis.
Addy was great also. I didn't think it was too bad. But
Mark Addy wasn't bad, but that movie is like jokes a mile a minute. Like
Yeah.
every frame has at least one gag in it.
Is that the one with Halle Berry
Yes.
as Sharon Stone?
Yes.
Super.
A guy, a dictator. Who doesn't love a dictator with a thick English accent?
Amazing. Love that. So good.
Great. He's like a butler with wings.
Parag says the Voight-Kampff test was amazing. To think that it would stimulate your irises, such a human reaction that could not have been replicated. True story, Parag. Boy knows his stuff. All right, quick news. What have you? What trailers have dropped?
Trailers have dropped.
A quick news.
The last one I saw that piqued my interest was Space Jam, but that was a little bit ago.
Did you see the Fast and the Furious 9 trailer, Jishnu?
No, I saw the Loki one. I'm very excited for that, obviously.
Which one? The Loki one, yeah.
Loki.
Yeah, did you see they had a Volca synthesizer in?
What?
It's so funny. Yeah, did I not show you that? So it's basically when he's in like he's got a little like that neck brace thing on, and he's sitting in that office, and on the side of the frame, I tweeted about this. There's a Volca, a small little synthesizer that is plugged in with a MIDI cable to look like futuristic, and I was just like, "Were these guys making jams or what?" but it was quite funny to see that. But the trailer looks awesome. I'm low-key excited about that the most out of all of these shows, just because I think it's I have no idea.
I think the possibilities are quite almost infinite. It's like a what if series, but one that has higher stakes. Because the one thing I'm a little trepidatious about with the what if series is the fact that it's from the sounds of it, it's just meaningless fun. It's just this week. How about this thing? And how about this thing for the next week?
Yeah.
This one has the stakes of like, at least know that this guy is a bad guy, even though technically he's charming and you kind of root for him.
Yeah.
Like, you never know the way things turn out with this guy. So like, what I'm really interested to see is how this second Loki, technically Loki 2.0, because he's like the older Loki.
Yeah, he's not
timeline.
He's not had that progression.
He's still he's not a redeemed Loki. He's a bad guy Loki. So I'm excited to see how they choose to
they're gonna have to
finish him off.
You know how I think they might just do it by letting him literally view the events of Ragnarok and see like the potential of and see how he actually died, like in Endgame or in Infinity. And maybe he'll see that and see that he has the chance to be a good person if he chooses that path literally. That could be quite cool. I'm excited for it. And so what is it? It's Loki, that is Black Widow, and then what? I think Hawkeye or something happens?
Black Widow and Shang-Chi, I believe.
Shang-Chi, September.
Before Hawkeye. I could be wrong, but I think that's around.
That would be great. We've not even seen a trailer, right? I'm sure that's
I'm so excited. I'm great. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Like playing it close to the chest. Because there's bound to be like a whole other left turn than what we've seen. And we've seen a lot of left turns from Marvel. So
man, that is exciting. They announced Sam Neill as Dr. Fate in Black Adam. Now we kind of know this Black Adam movie is really strange because Abhimanyu has been railing on it a lot, saying that he just wants to have his own DC character. He's probably not read the comics. He doesn't know what he's doing. He just wants to, and we have this kind of this theory, okay, that he just wants to fight Superman, okay, and he wants to lay like a beating on Superman. Yeah, exactly. Just so that, and just so it can be a throwaway gag. On some of these, on his Instagram live and on this show that he does called the Titan Games, which I watch a lot. Okay, so on the Titan Games, which he does for NBC, he in the middle of that show, it's all about these athletes with these really kind of hardcore stories of coming together and become the Titans and all that stuff. And in that, he's there and he just does these throwaway lines like, what you need to be a real Titan is to be strong, is to persevere, is to have the mana, and then to sometimes kick Jason Statham's ass. And he'll just do these random kind of like these
references
to his universe and stuff. And I swear half the time I'm just like, oh shit, it's not Sam Neill, it's Pierce Brosnan, my bad.
I thought something was
My
up.
bad. Sorry, not Saturn.
I don't want to correct you.
They are kind of interchangeable sometimes. No. Thank you, Web. Good one. I just thought it's Pierce Brosnan. You're right. So yeah, it just feels like he wants to do that. You gotta have the spirit. You gotta have the mana. And sometimes you gotta kick Superman's ass. This next challenge is whatever. It just feels like he's doing it for that.
I'll tell you what he has on his side, though. I completely get that. Yeah, he probably doesn't care as much as he should if he's dealing with that kind of property. But the other thing is, Black Adam is a pretty unknown guy from the DC world as far as the Rock's audience is concerned. So most people that are already obsessed with the Rock are not going to nitpick at him for not staying true to the source material. It'd be very different if he tried to play Superman.
Exactly.
And then people were like, we know Superman. Nobody knows Black Adam. So the bar is pretty low there.
He wants to kind of create his own thing. I will say
and I
this.
think he will. And honestly, I think The Rock is really good at being charismatic and stuff. And assuming that they write Black Adam to his strengths, which I think they would, considering it's The Rock and he doesn't audition for shit. He's like,
he just makes.
You know who I am?
Producing
Do you want me for the? Yeah. So I feel like it'll be the rockiest version of.
I think he's gonna make it really massy because, DC has lost a lot of money. He's like, of course they're gonna he's a good bet, to kind
He needs to keep butts in seats, and he's really good at doing
that.
So
exactly. Yeah. So I think that Black Adam thing, I mean, it's cool that he got Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate. I love Dr. Fate. He's kind of like the Doctor Strange essentially of. In fact, he predates Doctor Strange if I'm not mistaken. So kind of interesting. Not a master of the mystic arts as such, but yeah, supernatural character, quite cool. Great helmet, great costume. I wonder how they're gonna back and forth without the helmet because you have to see Pierce Brosnan's face. That's gonna be quite interesting. But I'm excited. It could be cool.
When is that again?
I think it's
not this year.
It's early 2022, if I'm not mistaken. So that's definitely happening.
Jesus, didn't we see a teaser type thingamabob?
Yeah. So during DC's Fandom, remember?
Yeah, at Fandom.
Yeah, so they did a kind of like an animatic kind of to show who the
I'm guessing
characters
they got delayed people because of the pandemic.
Yeah, it did.
They hadn't finished yet.
It definitely did. And yeah, so that's a thing, and great, I guess.
That's about it.
There's
not much else.
I mean, there's some other shows and stuff that have come out, but I'm sure we should do one when we have the gang back. We'll do like a review of all the shows that are out right now because we're watching a lot of things. I just started watching Raised by Wolves. It is phenomenal. It is arguably one of the best pilots I've ever seen. Incredible show. Started watching that. Finishing Picard.
I've been watching. Oh.
Yeah, really good. Man, you'll love it. You will fucking love it. It's
multiple seasons, right?
No, it's just finished one season. But it's just so nice.
Oh, it got renewed for a second.
Yeah, I think it got renewed. Yeah, but it's nice because what they're doing with Picard is just, Patrick Stewart is old, and so you can't do too many fight scenes with him. You can't do too many. So they have a younger cast around him to do all of that heavy lifting. But because he's the star, he has to be in it the most. A lot of his scenes are just diplomacy or just great conversational pieces. And that's the whole show.
Best. That's all I want.
It's great.
I just want to hear him talk.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why
Picard is
pretty much perfect. The story is kind of like a direct sequel from Star Trek Nemesis. So it's got a lot to do about Data and his past. So it's quite cool that way. Perfectly homage-y enough for all the real Trekkies. But yeah, great show and really nicely, man. Amazon Prime, dude. It's like a underrated guy, dude. Honestly, they have some really good shows. They have some really, really nice shows, and I'm just enjoying that. I'm watching Invincible also.
You know who doesn't, and I've been spending a lot of time with? Sony Live.
Sony Live
fucking sucks.
They only have two things that I subscribe to for Sony Live. One is the Europa League, but that's one. So football, and the other one is they have, and this is amazing enough. But they have the entirety of Agatha Christie's Hercule Poirot series. So
yes, that's exactly what I was going to say. That's the only thing that stood out to me. It's like, oh, this is really cool.
Yeah, it's the entire collection. So before that goes or whatever it is, I'm making my way through it. But yeah, it's excellent. Yeah, man, on Amazon Prime. Not bad. They have some good shows. Man in the High Castle. And not all the shows look like each other. That's the other thing. They kind of have a different vibe for each. Tales from the Loop was really good as well.
I never finished watching season 2 of Boys. Maybe I should do that.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Oh, dude, by the way, you can skip that and
watch Dinkar was right all along.
Yeah, of course Dinkar was right. Dude, Invincible. Watch Invincible. I feel it's same producers, but like a lot more. It's a lot better. You like it.
But better.
Yeah. It's really nice. There's only 5 episodes.
Cool. Good
J.K.
talk.
Simmons and Steven Yeun. All right. So that's our episode. I'm just going to quickly look through if there are any comments. There are some comments. Thank you, Weber, again for that correction. The helmet of Dr. Fate is relevant to the topic. That is true. It is a piece of cool inventory. And how does one start watching Trek? Is there any definitive entry point?
Oof. Nope.
Yeah, there are 2. I'd say there are 2.
I mean, yeah, either you pick the original series or the next gen.
Original, or you pick next gen, and or you can because the thing is like all the other shows like Deep Space Nine or Discovery or any of the other shows, or Enterprise, which was actually really good. Remember Enterprise in the 90s? It had that Rod Stewart song as the theme. It was good.
I know I never saw Enterprise, but to answer the question, I think that there is no one particular thing.
Yeah,
you just gotta pick one and stick with it because there are so many goddamn movies.
I'd say maybe do the movies
every
first.
Single one. Well, I don't know, because each of them they play on stuff from the series. So I'd say maybe it's a 22 episode, 24 episode, 40-minute kind of format. So it's really
and there were a lot of seasons in the next
painful.
generation.
Yeah, exactly. So I'd say pick either the original series or the next gen, and then start watching a couple of the movies from said relevant captain.
Or what you could do is watch the J.J. Abrams Star Trek trilogy, which basically in the first 10 minutes of the first Star Trek kind of makes a new timeline so none of those kind of clash or intersect. So it's quite cool. You can watch those, familiarize yourselves with those characters, and then watch Next Generation, because the classic trilogy is amazing.
It is.
But yeah, the original kind of trilogy.
It's just a slog. You got to be ready for a slog. So
yeah, and it's good because it's great.
It's worth it.
Danny Malt has covered entire 12 volumes of The Boys. Much more bonkers the series. I hear that it's getting
bonkers, yeah.
More bonkers,
but I don't think the fact that it wasn't bonkers enough was the problem. So
yeah,
I saw maybe 4 episodes, I think, and then life happened, and life got better because I stopped watching it. But maybe I will finish it just out of blind curiosity.
Yeah. All right, I think
we've talked about The Boys now.
That's we have an episode on The Boys in the Nerditorium, not the live show, which you can dig up on our channel. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Please leave comments or share this video if you want to share with some people, or tune in every week. We're doing this. Next week we have the Falcon and the Winter Soldier spoiler cast. You can join our Discord. That's in the description. And talk to us there. We have a spoiler channel for Falcon and the Winter Soldier, for WandaVision, for all of these shows that are coming out that are of note. And yeah, follow us on Instagram at Geek Fruit HQ, or on Twitter at Geek Fruit HQ, and we'll see you guys next week. Thanks, Jishnu.
Toodaloo, you nerds.